Welcome in, guys, to another scout report, and I thought I would continue with the running back class. And today we are scouting Jeremiyah Love. He's a running back from Notre Dame, and looking at Jeremiyah Love, I was really impressed with him on tape. I'm really looking at him as really probably being drafted high in the 2026 draft. Again, normally I'll come on here and say, oh yeah, he's a day 2 pick, maybe day 3. But I'm really impressed with Jeremiyah Love. I think he's one of those guys that you've got to really keep your you've got to make sure watch out for him in the draft, because whoever he goes to, it could be like a Jamar Gibbs comparison here, because when we got Jamar Gibbs a couple years ago, it was like, damn, the Lions got, again, everybody was jealous because we got Jamar Gibbs a number of years ago at running back. Now this could be the case here with Jeremiyah Love, where people looking at him on tape probably look at his weaknesses, but if you get him late on in the draft, like if he falls down at the board in the mid-20s, like 20 or 21st, and some team picks him up on the run game, again, you've got some guy who's 20 years old. He has a ton of potential. I just think he's a great steal. But anyway, let's talk about his games. The games I watched him on tape were Pittsburgh, Purdue, Miami, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Boise State, North Carolina, USC, Boston College, Navy, and Syracuse. Let's talk about his strengths. First thing that really you look on his tape is he has an elite speed and acceleration. And that comes down to basically doing research on Jeremiyah Love. He does have in his high school days, he had a background in track and field. He's a former track champion, so when he was at high school, like I just said, he was part of the track and field team. He's a former track and field champion, and he's got, so again, if you look at that speed and acceleration, that comes from his track and field days. So instantly, that's just great stuff there. And again, looking at Jeremiyah Love's tape, he's very versatile. He has verticalization as a weapon, so he can act as like a 3-back. He can act as a 3-back, or he can move into like the slot. So again, it depends on what system the offensive coordinator is going to be, what team he goes to. But if you're looking at where to put Jeremiyah Love, you can put him anywhere. You can put him as a 3-back down system, or you can move him as a slot run receiver. You can play at either of those positions really, and you could switch and play, like you could play 3 down. He'd be great as a slot receiver. He can be great as well. And then his pass catching, he has great hands and fantastic high end quality for his route running, and again, he just thrives well as a in the pass game. That's one thing that I really loved about his tape, is that he's got his excellent hand catch, great ball handling, and he's just great. He just thrives in the passing game. And then the last kind of 2 here I'm going to talk about for this tape wise is exclusiveness, excessiveness, and contact on the ball. And he has high focus. Sometimes he has missed some high focused tackles, but he's consistently on his feet. He can pick up extra yards. Obviously, that was from the whole track and field days, and his versatility, like I talked about. Again, he can fit in multiple positions, so he's a very versatile running back. Again, he can do as a 3-down block, He can be as a 3-down back, a slot receiver. He also can do. He can be a gap heavy. He can also play in a gap heavy block system as well. So again, he's very, very versatile. And I think if you're looking at somebody that can tick all the boxes at running back, you're definitely looking at Jeremiyah Love. And then weaknesses here. He's a pretty tall guy. He has a tall stature, and then which again sometimes in his tape has been led to big hits and to make him vulnerable at the point of attack. So again, he's good at the USA, but again, you look at his running style and his tall stature, that in big hits from the defense, that could be a huge kind of a problem where he's taking heavy hits, and that's something that you probably need to look at if you're going to take him early on. Is an interior, and then sometimes he can, on tape, you would see that he has some indecisive decision making. Sometimes he will struggle with his sometimes he isn't patient enough inside the pocket, inside the route, and that can lead into inconsistent yardage, and then he can, with his indecisiveness, he can lead heavy that can cause heavy traffic when sometimes he's impatient inside the pocket and stuff like that with his game. Pass protection, he needs to really improve on the pass protection side of things. Like, again, he's a physical guy, like I've been saying, but he needs to refine on his like pass protection techniques, and just be better at identifying the blitz more, and taking better care of yourself and not basically taking too many big hits. Sometimes, again, this is kind of the last point here, but what I've had on tape here, but sometimes he can occasionally rely too much on hurdling, and then when he's hurdling sometimes with the ball and stuff, he sometimes gets too aggressive, and it can lead to, like, him giving up penalties and stuff like that. And just basically for that, just play better football. Again, you don't have to be so reckless with some of the plays. Just play better football. So sometimes he relies too much on like being heavily aggressive when you don't have to be too aggressive. Yeah, you don't have to be too aggressive, and he gives up too many fouls and penalties and stuff like that. But if he can just really just don't make so many rash decisions when he's on the ball, and he can really, if he can find somebody that can coach out of his game, then the ceiling really for this guy is endless. And he's one of the guys that I look at and I'm excited to see what he can do in the NFL. I think he's definitely ready for. I don't know, like, again, I think he could, but again, whoever gets him, who's going to have a steal. I think, in my opinion, you're looking at a couple of additions here that you could have him in. Like, I think it's, someone like Pittsburgh, I think, would be good for him. Like, they need somebody on the run game. I think, you look at the Bills maybe. I think he would be maybe a backup running back too with the Bills, helping Josh Allen. I think that would be great. But yeah, I'll leave your guys' thoughts in the comments. But again, I do think he's one of those guys, whoever picks him up is gonna. I think he's definitely gonna be a day one pick. So leave your guys' thoughts in the comments.